I want you to talk a little bit about two things. One, I remember you telling me that at that phase when you slipped into this depression without knowing necessarily that it was depression, you had lost a very close friend. And I remember you told me that, again, you thought or you didn't know that this friend was depressed. And that if this friend could do this to him, in terms of not thinking his life was worth living, just imagine how many other people around you might be living with that. So can you speak a little bit to how losing that friend maybe in a sense began your own journey of self-discovery of what you were going through? I'm not saying that was the cause of your depression.
Yeah.
I'm saying it probably helped you to uncover it.
Well, he was a friend of a friend, and for me, someone I had met socially many, many times. But I think that was when I decided to sort of speak up and to do something about it, because I was seeing so many people around me. Now that's just one instance. We wake up today, we read the papers every single day. There's a headline. And my heart aches because it's preventable. It's absolutely preventable. And I think a large part of also the stigma comes from the fact that in schools, we talk about physical education. We have physical education classes. I had physical education in my school. But we didn't have anything to talk about mental health. Not one session, not a class, it's not part of the curriculum. So I think if we included that in the curriculum and we introduce just the idea of the importance of mental health at a school level, there will be no stigma, because it's the same way as a child you're educating me about so many other things. So educate me about the importance of mental health the same way we talk about the importance of physical. But yes, I think it was that one experience, but it was many other, of course my own experience, and then to see someone who I'd known for so many years, and like I said, you see it all around you, and I've been there, so it hurts to know that maybe in a matter of moments, or maybe some sort of intervention by friends or a family member, or maybe that moment could have passed and maybe things would have been very different today.
And we're actually talking about saving lives here. We're not talking about something self-indulgent. We're talking about suicide. We're talking about people who feel, and this happened to your friend or friend of a friend, but you yourself had reached that perilous point where you were like, I don't want to get out of bed and go through my day. This life doesn't make sense to me. And that is an isolating, and actually it's a very dangerous, I want to underline how dangerous that sentiment is.
It is. I think it's so important, having been there, I think it's so important to identify that moment in your life and to not fight it. It's so important to just accept, embrace, talk to somebody about it. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't mind if it's wrong diagnosis. I don't mind if I feel like I'm depressed, but I actually go to a doctor and he feels, or a specialist feels, I'm not depressed. I'd rather be in that space than underestimate what I'm going through. When we have a fever, we don't think twice about, I'm not talking about medication necessarily, but when we have a fever, when we have a cold, when we don't hesitate to pick up the phone and talk to someone, or casually mention to someone that I'm feeling feverish today, my throat is aching today. So why don't we talk about how my mind is feeling? I'm not feeling well today. I'm physically fine, but my mind's not there. Why can't we talk about it the same way?
So why did you resist the medication? And the reason I'm pushing you on this is because I know Dr. Doraiswamy will bear me out on this. This is the most common. Even people who are able to bring themselves to a doctor and say, help me. There is a resistance. The mind, we treat our mind as something, we ourselves treat our mind as something different.
Yeah.
Like if somebody tells us we're diabetic and we need Januvia or insulin, we will take it. And we'll say we'll also exercise and we'll lose weight and we'll do all of that, but we'll take the medicine. But when it comes to mental health, we resist. Why did you resist medication at first?
I think it's the same stigma that we're talking
right.
about. It's the same stigma. That what if I'm already not feeling great, and what if this thing messes with my mind even more? It's the same. It was just the stigma, nothing else. And the day I overcame that, I'm fine.
So, how do we know if we're depressed?
Great question.
And not just sad.
No, it's a great question. So I think what most people don't realize is that clinical depression is not just your everyday blues or everyday passing sadness. You know, we all encounter moments of sort of blues, rejections in our work, family life, accomplishments, playing tennis, you lose to somebody, yeah, we're all sad. But most of those kinds of everyday blues, we're able to snap out of it in a few days, in a few hours. Clinical depression is far more serious, far more debilitating. Typically, we define clinical depression in medical terms as someone having 5 or more symptoms of depression for most of the day, for at least 2 weeks. And these symptoms are impairing your everyday functioning, both at work and in your family life. So Google recently put out a screening questionnaire on their search tool called the PHQ-9. It's a validated depression screening tool. It's not a diagnostic test, so you cannot diagnose yourself with depression. And hundreds of thousands of people have already taken this screening tool. It's not available in India yet. All it tells you is if you score low, then your mood symptoms are probably just benign everyday blues, adjustment to life stressors. If you're scoring on the high end, it's time, as Deepika pointed out, to go seek professional help. It may be depression, it may not be depression. A variety of medical conditions can also mimic depression. Thyroid imbalances, vitamin deficiencies, in the elderly, small strokes, medication side effects. One reason why people don't want to take drugs is many older antidepressants carry a lot of baggage with them. In fact, a new study just came out that antidepressants double your risk for death on their own. So that's the sort of...
So then what do we do?
Well, so medication is not the solution necessarily for depression. So milder forms of depression can be treated with therapy, can be treated with yoga, exercise, lifestyle changes, environment changes, family support, reducing isolation. There's a variety of things that one can do.
But